Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats. Hey guys, welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. This is Shannon. I am uber excited for today's guest. We have someone on here who's going to chat with us about sales and marketing in unique ways that I think retreat leaders don't think about. And so welcome, Hailey Rowe, to the show. I'm so excited you're here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to talk.
Yes. One of the things, Hailey and I had chatted a couple of times. Actually, I was just on her podcast too, chatting about sales, which I just absolutely love. But one of the things we had mentioned, Hailey, when you and I first talked was the work that you do on LinkedIn and how, in my opinion, retreat leaders and prospective retreat leaders and those just in the industry in general kind of ignore LinkedIn. Can you tell us why that's a mistake and kind of your thoughts on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I'll back up real quick and just share what I do so they get the context that I'm coming from.
That would be helpful.
Yes. So I'm a marketing and sales strategist and coach, but I also do one done-for-you service called LinkedIn Lead Generation. And I work with a variety of service providers, and a lot of times they're very heart-centered and they love what they do and they love their craft. But then when it comes to sales and marketing, they're like, where do I start? This is overwhelming. This is not natural for me. And I used to work in the startup world in business development and marketing and learned a lot of the ins and outs there and eventually went off on my own. And one of the things that you just mentioned is, what do we not know about LinkedIn, or why do we dismiss it? So LinkedIn is a networking platform, unlike Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, etc. Those are more for entertainment. And it's not to say that you can't use them for your business. You absolutely can. But LinkedIn is more expected to use for a purposeful networking, finding collaborations, finding partners. If your ideal client is a certain type of professional, you can target them on there. It's very easy to find the kind of people you want to connect with if you work with a certain type of professional. So that would be one of the reasons why you want to get on LinkedIn. And the other reason is the people on there have more purchasing power than the other social media platforms, if you take the average, right? And there's ways you can target the kind of people you're looking for. So if you're looking for more established entrepreneurs, for example, there's a way to target for that in Sales Navigator, which we may not get into today. We can talk about it, but it's going to go down a rabbit hole. So those are just a couple of reasons why you should at least consider it, is that you're going to be able to find podcast opportunities, partnership opportunities, maybe speaking opportunities to grow your reach and impact, as well as potential clients if you can search a certain type of job title or they live in a certain area or something like that.
Okay, I love this so much because I feel like LinkedIn, for at least our field, is such one of those things where it's like those who actually use it, it will work so well because it's not saturated with our field. You know what I'm saying? Where if you go to Instagram or Facebook, at least nowadays, you can find every Tom, Dick, and Harry is doing some sort of an event or a retreat or learning capacity event or whatever may be the case, where you're not seeing that as much, at least not in the health and wellness field on LinkedIn, because I don't know, they just feel like they're not going in that direction. I don't see it anyhow on LinkedIn. Maybe I'm just not hanging out in the right circles. But so I feel like this is an untapped resource. And I love what you said, the difference between social media and LinkedIn. I mean, social media being TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, it is more of an entertainment. Entertain me. Let me shut off my brain for a while, right? Where LinkedIn, I think people are actually looking for information. They're looking for interesting things that, either help them grow or heal or expand or whatever be the case. So I just love that. Can you talk to us a little bit about what the groups do too? Because I know that LinkedIn has groups and I don't understand any of this, to be honest with you.
Yes. So really quick, one thing too that you mentioned is like retreat leaders, they may think, oh, I'm too woo-woo to be on LinkedIn, or I'm not like stiff and like, I'm not looking for a job, so why would I be on LinkedIn? And the truth is, the content now on LinkedIn, if you're a creator, it is flexible. Like I have a client, well, actually, I'll share one of my friends actually, because he's viral on LinkedIn. His best LinkedIn post that got like millions of impressions was about adopting his two daughters. nothing to do with his business, telling a personal story. So you are allowed to bring yourself to LinkedIn, just a side note. And as far as these groups go, so LinkedIn groups are places more so where you can find the kind of target audience you're looking for. And it's not like Facebook groups where you're going to join and there's going to be all these posts that you need to comment on and there's networking threads within the group. That's not what it's really. I mean, they try to make it like that, but that's not how it rolls on LinkedIn. But the reason why, so let's say I am a travel blogger and I'm going to host a retreat of some kind. I might look up the word travel, luxury travel, things like that on LinkedIn using the groups filter. And I can find groups that have people interested in that. And what's cool is once you're in a LinkedIn group, you can go to the members list and you can look through and you will find your ideal people you want to be connected with. And or you could take the same approach for networking with partners, people who can share your retreat with their audience or have you on their podcast by looking up entrepreneur groups or, certain types of complementary types of business owners. And the members list is really where it's at in the LinkedIn groups. You want to use that to help save you time from having to just go to the search bar on LinkedIn and type in the title you're looking for or things like that. Now, I will say there's several different ways to find your ideal target audience on LinkedIn, but groups is a good one for you if you're just getting started, you're new to LinkedIn, you want to make it a little more efficient. That's a good strategy.
Hey, retreat leaders. Are your retreats the hidden gems of the travel world just waiting to be discovered? Well, it's time to shine a spotlight on them. Introducing the ultimate guide you've been waiting for, our free guide, Top 11 Tips for Building an Email List for you, the retreat leaders. Imagine an email list packed with eager attendees, hanging on to your every word and ready to book at the click of a button. We share the blueprint to creating a list that sells. Don't miss out on the action. Learn how to connect deeply with your audience, boost your bookings, and create a buzz that fills every retreat. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, these 11 tips are your secret weapon to success. Visit retreatleaderlistbuilding.com now to grab your free copy and start building an email list that sells out your retreats. I love that. So here, talk about the universal signs. So you and I had a chat, I think a couple weeks ago, and it was like, talking a little bit about LinkedIn and stuff. So I actually hosted 3 retreats in a row, which I don't recommend, but I hosted 3 retreats. And on my last one in the opening circle, somebody was like, yeah, I found this retreat in my LinkedIn group. And I'm like, wait,
wow.
What? And she's like, yeah, another friend of mine posted that she'd come here for a retreat in the group. And I was like, wait, what is that place? And so I'm over here going, Shannon, if this isn't the universe telling you that LinkedIn is this untapped resource, not just, listen, there's the business side of me that's like, yeah, this is great additional ways for us to make revenue. But the other side is it's a really cool place for people to find something like this, something that they're looking for that can serve them. And so I just found that to be fascinating, which is why I asked you about groups and something that I need to explore a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. And there will be groups where you can introduce yourself or you can share about your retreat. And in this person's situation, it led to somewhere and led to a sale. So I'm not saying that doesn't work, but I think also what's just as important on LinkedIn, in addition to posting in groups, is actually sending out connection requests so that people get into what we call your network on LinkedIn. So that's like your Facebook friends list, but on LinkedIn, right? Because then they're going to keep seeing your posts. And you will be able to, once you send a connection request about maybe why you're connecting, like, hey, I noticed we're both in the Chicago area, or I noticed we're both heart-led entrepreneurs or something. Once they accept it, you can be able to start a conversation with them if you ever want to, learn more about them, network, whatever you normally do when you're building new relationships. And they're going to keep seeing your stuff. So that's why we do also want to be sending out connection requests.
I love it. So talk to me about the effectiveness of LinkedIn ads. Is that something that you help people with?
No. So LinkedIn ads, I'm not saying they're not effective, but there's so much gold with what you can do on a personal account on LinkedIn to where I just haven't even hit that point where I feel like I need that. Now, there are companies that can do that and it can be great. And I do think it's a better return from what I understand compared to Facebook ads, a lot easier. But I think more so where it's at on LinkedIn is the conversations you're having and your posts that tend to get more reach than on places like Instagram, where it's really hard nowadays. So that's what I would say about ads.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Shannon here. I'm just popping in really quickly to ask a big favor. Would you pause the show and go review it for us? Please. Reviews really help us to be able to get more guests and more experts on the show to help you transform your retreats. So if you wouldn't mind pausing and leaving us a review, that would mean everything. And if you're not already subscribed, do that too.
And that makes sense. If you really think about it, I feel like the sponsored stuff people are starting to shy away from anyway, and they're looking for the more organic reach. So I love that so much. I want you to tell us how you can help someone with LinkedIn, though. Do you help them even with their personal reach like that?
Definitely. So I do kind of a two-prong approach. One is looking at what should be your strategy for marketing a retreat, whether it's on LinkedIn or other platforms. And then once we know that, my done for you service on LinkedIn is we do the connection request for you and we do the maximum amount that you're allowed to do each week. We do the targeting to make sure it's kind of the right people that you're looking to attract using a tool called Sales Navigator. And then we do a 2-message, like we start the relationship for you. We don't do a whole, now this is something I want to highlight. I think a lot of people get scared of LinkedIn because they think I have to pitch people, I have to send this long salesy message. And they get that in their inbox and it turns them off from LinkedIn, right? But my approach and the approach we use is we start the conversation for you. And we usually we do have a strategy to it, meaning we're either trying to, gain insight on what they'd find useful so we can invite them to your freebie, or we're trying to get you booked on podcasts, or we're trying to get you booked for speaking opportunities. But we don't do the whole automated funnel that you see some people sending you on LinkedIn where you get multiple messages and it's like out of context because you already replied to them, but their automated system is still sending you more follow-ups. So I don't recommend that, but that's how I help. So I help you both with like optimizing your profile, making sure that your profile looks good and your content on LinkedIn is quality and your strategy for marketing. But if you did want to outsource some of your lead generation, that's a service that I do as well.
I love that so much. What are some of the other offerings that you feel like would help retreat leaders, or even maybe weaknesses that you see as an opportunity for retreat leaders?
Yeah. So when it comes to shifts to make with your retreat approach, a lot of times people think if their retreat's not selling, I'm doing something wrong, I need to jump to something new. And the truth is, sometimes we just have to refine what you're already doing and or give it more volume. So one mistake I see is people just jumping around from strategy to strategy and having shiny object syndrome compared to, no, hold on, there's something here on this sales page. It may not be converting yet, but it's, you're just missing a couple key components and you're not addressing these objections and blah, blah, blah. So one thing I do with clients before we just add more new stuff is help them refine what could work or what's already working, but grow it and then keep layering on new things once we have the capacity for that. So I have a framework called Grow Your Business the Fast Way. It's an acronym and it stands for followers, action, sales, time management, and transformation. I mean, the work I do is personalized to what you're needing, where you're stuck. But the overall picture, and this might give your retreat leaders some ideas about things they need to consider when marketing their retreat, is followers. So we needed to consider who is it for and where do you find them and what's going to be your lead gen regular strategy to be bringing people to being able to make an offer, right? Because the number of offers you make minus the no's equal how many people are going to be at your retreat. The action piece is how do you create content, messaging, and marketing that's compelling enough that people want to take action? The sales piece, which is what's your sales process? How are you overcoming the common objections in your marketing? Making sure your price makes sense, making sure you have like a business model that's maybe like an upsell, a downsell, that kind of thing. Time management is where to put your focus for prepping for your retreat, how to not get overwhelmed and let that take over. And then transformation is, what is the transformation you're providing for your retreat students, and making sure that there's a clear point A to point B and a clear differentiator about your retreat, along with making sure that you as an entrepreneur, sometimes I see my clients have struggles on their own transformative journey of growing their business and growing their retreat. So if anything personal comes up as far as, oh, I'm afraid to go on video, or, marketing is just not for me, and so you just rule it out and your energy's closed off for it, I coach clients on those kind of blocks as well sometimes if they need it. So just when you're reflecting about your marketing and about your next moves for your retreat, ask yourself within that framework, where am I lacking the most, or where am I maybe missing the mark? Or go through all your retreat assets, reading it as if you were a complete stranger, knew nothing about it, or have a friend read it and say, is there anything here that's like confusing, or, doesn't make sense and is too long, or, stuff like that. So those would be a couple starting points.
Oh my gosh, that's like all of the things. I love that so much, because it's really taking someone from A to Z in their whole marketing approach from a business and a personal side. Because as you and I even chatted about earlier, a lot of this has to do with belief system and blockages that the retreat host or retreat leader has, or as you put it, the entrepreneur. And so I love that you're even able to help with that. That is so fantastic.
Hey guys, I'm popping in to ask a quick question. Are you ready to elevate your marketing game and fill those retreat slots faster than ever? Of course you are. That's why you're here. And we've got the toolkit for you. Our top 5 marketing tools for retreat leaders guide. This isn't just a guide. It's your marketing guru wrapped up in one easy to follow package. Dive into the essentials of social media marketing, where we show you how to leverage those platforms to create a community buzzing with excitement for your retreats. Also, unleash the power of content marketing with strategies that educate and engage your potential guests. Plus, we'll dive into email marketing, SEO, and partnership opportunities that open new doors and bring in streams of attendees. So why wait to make your retreats the talk of the town? Download your free guide today by visiting retreatmarketingtools.com and start transforming your retreat dreams into reality.
I have a feeling you have lots of tools in your tool chest to help retreat leaders be successful at hosting retreats. If someone wanted to work with you, Hailey, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at Hailey_Rowe, Hailey_ROWE. I do have loads of freebies. I think the one that might make sense for your audience, because they probably have a lot on their plate, is my free weekly planning system. So that's at HaileyRowe.com/time planning. And it takes you through how do you break down your goal of planning your retreat, for example, into your calendar, and making sure you're moving forward each week and being realistic. Because I think a lot of people, we all know this. We have a million things we want to do, and things just linger on our to-do list week after week because other stuff got in the way, but we have to start making room for that other stuff and figure out what's actually doable. So that might help. And then HaileyRowe.com is my website. That's predominantly for some of the coaches and service providers I work with. But if you're more interested in LinkedIn lead gen, you can just reach out. I can talk more about that and send you my page for that and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, I will have everything linked in the show notes. Thank you so much, Hailey, for giving this little tidbit on how we should be looking at LinkedIn differently for retreat leaders, as well as just looking at our entire marketing plan and evaluating it. I especially love looking at it as if you're a stranger, like what message is it speaking and where are the weaknesses in that message? So thank you so much. Once again, I'll have everything linked in the show notes, and I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Can I add one more thing I forgot?
Please.
The Health Coach Nation podcast is where you can also get weekly tips. And Shannon was an amazing guest about hosting a retreat, marketing a profitable retreat. So check that out as well.
I love that. Once again, I'll have that linked in the show notes as well. Thank you. I loved having you on here.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.